The greatest life advice nobody told you is this: what you are going through is not trying to break you, it is trying to build you. You thought the struggle meant you were failing, but the struggle is proof that something is being formed inside of you. Pressure does not come to destroy diamonds, pressure comes to reveal them. And if you feel the weight, it is because there is worth in you that cannot be released any other way. Nobody told you that delay is not denial. You thought because it didn't happen when you prayed, when you planned, when you prepared, that it wasn't meant for you. But some things need time because you need depth. If it came too early, it would crush you. If it came too fast, you would mishandle it. The waiting season is not empty, it is instructional. You are learning patience, discernment, resilience, and faith while you wait. Nobody told you that not everyone who walks with you can go where you're going. You kept dragging people into seasons they were never designed to survive. Some people were only assigned to your introduction, not your destiny, and when they left, you thought it was abandonment, but it was alignment. God will remove voices that confuse you so you can finally hear your own calling clearly. Nobody told you that your pain would become your platform. You tried to hide the broken parts, the mistakes, the nights you cried yourself to sleep. But those very places are where your authority comes from. People don't connect to perfection, they connect to survival. The scars you survived are credentials. What didn't kill you gave you a language that can reach others who are still bleeding. Nobody told you that fear will always show up before purpose. Every time you are on the edge of something meaningful, fear will try to talk you out of it. Fear is not proof that you are weak. Fear is proof that you are standing at the door of something bigger than you. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is obedience in spite of it. Nobody told you that you would have to become someone new to hold the life you are praying for. You keep asking for new doors while carrying old habits. You want a new future with an old mindset. Transformation is not just about what changes around you, it's about what changes within you. Sometimes God doesn't move the situation because He is trying to move you. Nobody told you that your voice matters even when it shakes. You waited to be confident before speaking, but confidence is built by speaking. You waited to be ready, not realizing readiness is born in motion. The first step will always feel awkward. The first attempt will always feel small. But momentum begins with obedience, not perfection. And here is the truth nobody told you, but you need to hear today. You are not late, you are not forgotten, and you are not disqualified. You are in process, and process is sacred. What looks like a setback is often a setup. What feels like an ending is often a doorway. Stay faithful in the unseen season, because when it is time, what was planted in darkness will rise with power. Your life is not random, your struggle is not meaningless, and your future is greater than your past ever tried to convince you it was. What nobody ever told you is that life does not begin to make sense when everything is calm. Life reveals its truth when everything is shaking. You were taught to pray for comfort, but purpose is revealed in discomfort. You asked for peace, but growth answers with pressure. Every season that stretched you, every moment that confused you, every situation that made you question yourself was not punishment, it was preparation. You were being trained for a weight you could not yet see. Nobody told you that struggle is a language. It speaks to your strength before it speaks to your success. When you felt weak, you were actually being introduced to a deeper version of yourself. Strength is not discovered in ease. It is uncovered when quitting feels reasonable and you choose to stand anyway. The fact that you are still here after everything you went through is not luck. It is evidence that you are built for more than you imagined. Nobody told you that silence is sometimes a strategy. You thought unanswered prayers meant you were ignored, but silence is often where wisdom is formed. When nothing is changing on the outside, something is being rearranged on the inside. Delay is not denial, delay is development. You are being taught how to endure, how to wait without becoming bitter, how to trust without having proof. Nobody told you that the version of you who survived would not fit into the old rooms you came from. You tried to shrink yourself to stay connected, but growth demands space. Some relationships end not because of hatred, but because of direction. You are not wrong for outgrowing places that once felt like home. Elevation always requires separation, and alignment sometimes feels like loss before it feels like peace. Nobody told you that pain carries instruction. Every tear carried a lesson. Every disappointment refined your discernment. You learned who to trust, what to release, and how to stand alone without losing yourself. Pain did not come to define you, it came to shape you. What you survived quietly gave you authority you did not ask for, wisdom you did not study for, strength you did not plan to have. Nobody told you that fear would try to sit in the same room as your calling. Every time you stood at the edge of something meaningful, fear whispered reasons to stay comfortable. Fear always shows up when purpose is nearby. It tries to disguise itself as logic, as caution, as timing, but it is only a test to see if you will move anyway. Courage is choosing obedience while your hands are shaking. Nobody told you that you would have to become someone new to carry what you are praying for. You cannot hold a new life with an old mindset. Transformation is uncomfortable because it demands honesty. It exposes habits you protected and beliefs you inherited that no longer serve you. Change is not about adding more. It is about shedding what no longer fits who you are becoming. Nobody told you that your voice matters even when it trembles. You waited to be confident before speaking, not realizing confidence is built by speaking. The step you are afraid of is the step that will change you. Motion creates clarity. Obedience creates momentum. What you keep delaying is often the very thing that will unlock the next season of your life. Nobody told you that you are not behind. You are being positioned. What looks like a detour is often divine direction. What feels like an ending is often a transition. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are in process. And process is where purpose is shaped, where character is refined, where strength is forged in places no one applauds. Nobody told you that life would demand more from you after you thought you had already given your best. You believed endurance had a limit, that after surviving certain storms you would finally be allowed to rest, but purpose keeps calling you forward. Just when you think you are finished, another challenge appears, not to exhaust you, but to reveal how much strength has been built within you. What feels like too much is often evidence that you are stronger than you realize. Nobody told you that growth would feel like grief. You are not just becoming something new. You are losing versions of yourself that once kept you safe. Old habits, old dreams, old identities must fall away. And even when they were limiting you, letting go still hurts. You mourn what was familiar even when it was unhealthy. Transformation always carries a sense of loss because you cannot become more without leaving something behind. Nobody told you that disappointment would sharpen your discernment. Every time expectations failed, your vision became clearer. You learned the difference between promises and patterns, between words and actions. What once fooled you no longer does. Betrayal did not make you bitter, it made you aware. Hurt refined your ability to recognize truth, and wisdom was formed where trust was once misplaced. Nobody told you that loneliness would become a classroom. There were seasons when no one called, no one checked, no one stood beside you, and you wondered what you had done wrong. But solitude taught you how to hear your own thoughts without panic, how to stand without applause, how to move without permission. In isolation, you learned self-respect, boundaries, and the power of being whole on your own. Nobody told you that your dreams would intimidate others. Not everyone will celebrate what they cannot imagine for themselves. Some people will try to shrink your vision so they can feel comfortable around you. Resistance is not always opposition. Sometimes it is insecurity reacting to your potential. You are not responsible for making others feel small by refusing to become small yourself. Nobody told you that obedience would require courage before it brings clarity. You want to understand everything before you move, but faith demands movement first. The path reveals itself as you walk it. Step by step, light meets your feet only after you leave what is familiar. You do not need the full picture, you need the next instruction. Nobody told you that your mistakes would not disqualify you. You thought one wrong turn erased your future, but failure is not final unless you stop moving. Every misstep carried a lesson, every fall taught you how to rise with humility. Redemption does not erase your past, it repurposes it. What you regret today becomes wisdom tomorrow if you keep going. Nobody told you that your resilience would outgrow your pain. The things that once broke you no longer have the same power. You can stand in rooms that once terrified you, speak truths you once avoided, face challenges you once ran from. Healing does not mean forgetting, it means remembering without being controlled. Nobody told you that you are becoming more than you prayed for. You asked for relief, but strength was formed. You asked for answers, but character was built. What you thought was a delay was a process shaping you for a future that requires depth, maturity, and courage beyond what you once imagined. Nobody told you that life would confront you with moments that expose what you truly believe. When everything is comfortable, faith feels easy, but when pressure arrives, belief is tested. The seasons that challenged your confidence were not meant to confuse you. They were designed to reveal what was rooted and what was surface level. What stands under pressure is what was truly planted within you. Nobody told you that consistency would matter more than talent. You thought success belonged to the most gifted, but life rewards those who show up when motivation is gone. Talent opens doors, but discipline keeps them open. The days you wanted to quit but kept moving anyway were shaping endurance, and endurance always outlasts enthusiasm. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. Nobody told you that responsibility would increase before recognition arrives. You carried weight without applause, solved problems no one saw, made sacrifices no one thanked you for. You wondered if it mattered, if anyone noticed, but character is formed in anonymity. Integrity is proven when no one is watching. Promotion is prepared in private long before it is revealed in public. Nobody told you that healing is not instant. Some wounds close slowly, layer by layer, memory by memory. You can forgive and still feel pain. You can move forward and still remember. Healing does not mean you were weak. It means you were human. Progress is not measured by the absence of pain, but by the strength to continue despite it. Nobody told you that your environment could limit your imagination. When you grow up surrounded by survival, dreaming feels risky. You learned how to cope before you learned how to hope. Breaking cycles requires vision, and vision often begins in uncomfortable places. You are not wrong for wanting more than what you were shown. Nobody told you that boundaries would feel lonely at first. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop overgiving, when you stop chasing approval, some people will misunderstand you. Protecting your peace may cost you connections that thrived on your exhaustion. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks that you control. Nobody told you that your purpose would demand patience. You wanted instant results, but lasting things take time. Roots grow before fruit appears. What is slow is not weak, it is deep. The quiet seasons are strengthening what will later need to stand in storms. Waiting is not wasting time, it is building capacity. Nobody told you that comparison would try to steal your joy. You measured your progress against someone else's timeline and overlooked your own growth. Every journey is different, every calling unfolds at its own pace. You are not behind, you are becoming. Focus is a form of faith. Nobody told you that resilience would become your signature. Life tested you in ways you never expected, but you adapted, adjusted, and kept going. You learned how to rise without bitterness, how to stand without resentment, how to move forward without closure. What you survived quietly built a strength that cannot be taught, only earned.